it's not football because you're holding it 90% of the time, but the football is the one you kick with your foot, right?
I feel like
I'm
they
sorry.
said something like that on Coming to America too.
No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What are y'all doing?
I'm not trying to start anything, right?
It's cool. It's cool. Hey, boss family. Welcome. So we're going to do something a little different today. I don't think we've ever done anything like this before, but we're going to do a get to know you. I'm going to be asking Apostle Shola. We like to call him Apostle Shola. Probably the Holy Spirit has us doing that. So we're just going to follow through with that. Apostle Shola is, he's been a part of this family for a long time, but we're just going to get to know him, ask him some questions. He is new to the pastoral team, and just see what he's about. Y'all check him out. See what we can get. Hey, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, boss family.
So I wanted to ask you, first off, how did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Give us some information on your backstory.
Sure. I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos used to be the capital of Nigeria, but later it was moved to Abuja. So I was born in Africa, Lagos. It's a fun place. We call it the life of Africa.
Really?
Yeah. Lagos is. It's like the. How do I put it? How do I say this? Lagos is like what San Francisco is to California.
Oh, we need
So
to go to Lagos.
it's the Boston, the life. It's a very very developed part of the country, and because Nigeria used to be colonized by the British,
Okay.
and the British then made the Lagos like the capital, where the seat of power. But later it was moved to the central of the country, which is Abuja. So I was born, in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos. Went to what you call, primary, secondary, or university or college. What you call college
Okay.
here. Went to college there in Nigeria, and in 2014, I migrated here to the U.S. with my family.
Oh, 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
That's fairly new.
Yeah, it's really new. Yeah, I'm just going to be 10 years next year
Okay.
in the U.S. So God opened the door. But prior to when we came to the U.S., we had always seen America on TV and was like, hey, man, I'd love to be in this place, And somehow, through some miraculous mountain moving, earth cracking, God opened the door.
I know that's right.
And
I know that's right.
and we got the opportunity to migrate here
Uh-huh.
with my family. So we came in 2014. And actually we joined Boss when we came, because my elder sister used to be with Boss when she was in California. So we just came and joined Boss Tree.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 siblings.
4 siblings.
So I'm the last of 4. So it's a girl,
You-
my elder sister, Lanu, then IBK, we call him Ibukun, then my immediate sister Jadi, then I'm the last child.
You're the last one.
Yes.
What type of child were you? Were you a brat since you're the baby of all these girls?
I was kind of like, as the last child, I was spoiled. I was one. Mommy was always, I was like the baby's boy, and even sometimes till now, she still calls me her baby.
Of course.
And my son Toby says, "No, he's no longer your baby." But
you will never be able to tell her any different.
I know. So I've just given up to that fact that okay, she's going to say that until
you will be 80 and a
she
baby.
still call me her baby.
You
Yeah,
will be her baby. Okay.
I submit.
Okay, as long as we know. So when you came in 2014, you already had family here?
Yeah, I already have family here.
Okay.
Family here.
Okay.
So my elder sister actually was the one who filed for our immigration papers.
Yeah.
And we had to wait about 11, 12 years to get the green card.
Okay.
So when we got it, we migrated here. That's all of us. It was like
How many of y'all came over?
almost like 13 of us came over. So that's why I say it was a opening, heaven shaking.
Wait, who are all these people though? Like,
So
your parents came?
So my parents, because my parents had gotten their card first, so they came. My
Okay.
mother was here, but my dad always transitioned.
Yeah.
Didn't want to stay. But the siblings had to wait that long to get the green card. And what we got is, so my elder brother, his wife, 3 kids, my elder sister, husband, 2 kids,
Oh, got it.
my wife and I, and 2 kids. So all of us migrated to the U.S.
Got it.
All of us.
Okay, so you were already married.
I was already married in Nigeria.
When did you guys get married?
So we got married in 2007.
2007.
Yeah, got married in August 2007.
Okay. And so let everybody know who your wife is. She's famous here.
Oh.
For those of you who don't know.
So my wife is Omotayo, but I call her Tayo. People call her Tayo. We actually met in college.
Okay.
Yeah, we met in college. We dated, for almost close to 6 years. And eventually she said yes. And we got married.
Eventually
she said yes.
How many times you asked?
A couple of times.
Yes.
A couple of times.
Yes,
But
Tayo.
she eventually said yes. Yeah. And very, very short story.
Yeah.
When eventually we agreed that we were going to get married, and I went to meet her dad. And she introduced me to her dad, and her dad said, "Okay, I want to talk to you. Let me holler at you." So it took me.
I know it's different over there
It's
too.
different.
It's serious
Yeah,
business.
It's different. It's
Okay.
different. So he sat me down and was like, "So why do you want to marry my daughter?" And I looked at him and was like, I because I love your daughter, that's why I wanted to marry her. And it was how do you know it's love? That was the question I asked.
That's a good question.
How do you know it's love? And I said to him, "Sir, your daughter kept me waiting for an answer for close to 4 years. And I waited 4 years to get a response from her." So I told him, I was like, if it was infatuation wouldn't have waited for 4 years to get a yes. And he's like, "Okay, you're good. You can marry."
Tayo. I gotta talk to Tayo. Now I want more info. But okay.
No, but you see, the beautiful thing about that story, because when I look back, I look at it, I was like, do you know what? You only have one chance to get married and have a true life partner to which you're going to stay with until you die. So why hurry into it when, you can prayerfully wait on God to give you the release? Because when you stand at that altar and you say yes, and you say for richer, for poorer, better or worse, in sickness and in health, it's a vow that you're giving in front of God and all the witnesses that are there, that, hey, hell or high water, I'm going to stay with you. So
that's good, man.
she took her time, but I'm happy she took her time.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you a patient man. I can just tell that off the bat.
Yeah, I waited.
You waited.
Yeah, I waited.
That's okay. All right. So, Tayo, we gotta talk to you. That's so dope. I think that is so dope. Okay, so you guys make it here to Sacramento, 2014. What did you end up starting to get into career-wise? Like, what did you go to college for?
So I went to college for what we call, here in the U.S. it's called cost estimating, but in Nigeria we call it quantity surveying. Basically, it's a part of the construction industry that does measurement in terms of how much material is going to be used for construction, what it's going to cost. So, for example, this whole building, the architect thinks of it and he designs it, right? Then it gives that design to a structural engineer to calculate, okay, we want to make sure the roof doesn't cave in, the pillars are standing. So the civil engineer and the structural engineer, they design the structure for the building, right? Now, what the cost estimator does is takes all that information and puts it into, some work and like, okay, do you know what, for this building is going to cost you this amount? So that's how you know the cost of the building, because the cost estimator has to break it down to tell you that, hey, it's going to cost you this much in material, this much in labor, this much in licensing fee, this much in that. So basically, I went to college working with numbers.
You deal with numbers. I hate numbers. I can add, and that's And they better be small numbers.
So,
Okay, so you're good with
yeah,
numbers.
so I do numbers. But when I came here, I was like, okay, do I go into that industry? But I was like, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with that. I was like, I want a career path. I want to change.
Okay.
So initially, I started working as a customer service rep with Lowe's,
Okay.
right? And I was in the paint department, mixing paint, helping people out. But that was part time. But then I was like, nah, I need to take care of my family. So I looked for a full time job, and I started as a phone banker with Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Then it was Fargo. I progressed, quite quickly from phone bank. I went to High Valley Banker, and from there I went to what we call like a support back office
Okay.
to help branches and all that. From there I went to the executive office where I dealt with complaints, policy issues, de-escalating customers, and try to resolve
Yeah.
problems with customers. But from Wells Fargo, then I moved to Bank of America.
Okay. So you've done quite a bit of moving up.
Yeah,
A lot of elevation is happening.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, what would you tell us about? Give us something in relation to your spiritual journey. Like, did you come from a spiritual family? Did you always know about Jesus? Like, how did you? What did that? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, no, so I'll say I came from a Christian family,
Okay.
but not like Bible believing, church stomping, born again, that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
Okay.
My parents were Anglicans in Nigeria, so we grew up in the Anglican church.
What's that?
So Anglicans are, I'll say they are an offshoot of Catholics, right?
Oh.
So we have the Pentecostals, you have the Anglicans, you have the Catholics. So in Nigeria, there are different offshoots. You have the Baptists,
Okay. Okay.
and all that. So the Anglicans basically are a different type of church. They're the ones that they read hymns, they sing hymns. There's no live praise and worship and all that kind of stuff. You just sing hymns, and basically the structure is similar to that of the Catholic, but the belief is different. They don't believe in Holy Mary and all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
but they're like, I'll put it this way: the King of England is so called the head of the Anglican Church.
Oh.
So basically, we the Anglicans follow that line of
Got it.
worship and all that. So I grew up in an Anglican church, like in called a Christian house. But
Right.
we weren't born again. Actually, it was my elder brother that laid the seed because he gave birth, he gave his life to Christ.
Okay.
That I first person I could observe that there was a change, and he was always reading his Bible and all that. So I saw that seed from him, but it was
Was that here or
no,
was that
back in
that was still back home?
back
Okay.
home.
Okay.
So it was my elder sister that took me to a Christ Chapel church in another state in Ibadan, in Nigeria, and it was then that I gave my life to Christ, and I was 10 years old then. I was 10 when I gave my life to Christ. So it was my elder sister that took me to that church. I mean, I can still remember because it was like an auditorium. I was way up in the gallery. I can't remember the sermon, but I just know that the guy was like, "Hey, if you want to give your life to Christ, you want God to to touch you, come forward." I think I didn't go forward, but after the message or after the church, my sister took me to the pastor,
Yeah.
and he prayed for me, and I confessed, and he laid hands on me, and I spoke in tongues. And I was 10 years old.
Okay, so this wasn't even one of the questions, but
Right.
I have to ask, when it comes to Christianity and like being able to see the hand of God working in relation to Africa and America, like what is the difference?
Um, I'll put it this way. America has a lot of influence on the African church because America is more visible, right? Online.
Gotcha.
So we have lots of Nigerian pastors who have mentors and people that they look up to in the US
Yeah.
that they kind of follow
Mhm.
and imitate, or so if you see this person, you can see like, yeah, this person is an influence to that person. So there was that. But in the context of the difference between the American church and the Nigerian church, Africans in general are very religious people. If you watch or you like just like Google, hey, an African church praying, when we pray, the whole building is shaking because we we like to, you know, naturally Africans talk loud, we yell when we talk, but it's
Right.
not that we're angry, but that's just how we are.
Very expressive.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
expressive. So when we when we're praying, it's like the whole church is vibrating and shaking, right? Compared to the American context that everybody's like, But I get it. The different cultures, different.
It's different. It's different.
It's different,
It's different. I mean, I just feel like sometimes y'all probably just seen him step down and sit on y'all's worship.
No, because
Like, there he is.
because the context is also different too. Because I'll give you an example.
Okay.
There are things here that we don't worry about in the U.S. Right?
Okay.
You're not worrying about power, right? You're not worrying about how am I going to get drinking water, clean drinking water. How am I going to get a roof over my head? There's certain things that you're not worried about. But in Africa, there's certain things that you're worried about, right?
Yeah.
How am I going to power my house? How am I going to get food for my family? How am I going to protect my family, right? So because of that need kinds of drives us to God for answers and for solutions,
I got you.
right? So the guy who doesn't have food will pray that, hey, God, provide for me. But the guy who opens the fridge and has everything he needs, he doesn't need to pray for food. So that's kind of the difference. The need in Africa drives us to God to pray.
It's a more dependency.
Yeah.
Then I got you.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. So how did we get to this point where you are now in the position where you said yes to God calling you to this ministry and in a place of leadership? How did we get here?
We got here because right from time, well, I said I gave my life to Christ when I was 10.
Yeah.
And since 10 till now, I'm 45. So I've worked with God for 35 years. And at certain points in my life, God had always told me that I'm going to use you to lead people. I'm going to use you to make changes in the church. I'm going to use you. You're my battle axe. You're my weapon of war. I'm going to use you to do stuff. So I'd known that right from time. And even when I started dating my wife, those are things that were like, hey, look, if you're going to marry me, this is what I think God is going to make me do.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have to buy into, and you have to be convinced or be persuaded that, hey, God is going to use my husband, and I'm going to be able to support him in whatever God is going to lead him to do. So I'd always known that God was going to use me to, be a part of the church, to make the church better. And I know that right from time. And when I was going to migrate here, the word God gave to me was like, I am sending you to a land flowing with milk and honey, and you will be a light on the hill, right?
Yeah.
So I already know that, okay, God, you're going to use me. Okay, now I'm migrating to the U.S. And once we got to the U.S., and God said, go and sit at the back seat. Just sit. Don't do anything. Just sit down. Don't do anything. Don't join any department. I want you to sit down and learn.
Okay.
So when I joined Boss, that's why I sat back and was always watching. I was in service every week.
You would always see. For those of you who go here, you will see this man literally in the back. When worship is going, he's back there worshiping. When prayer is going, but he in it, but in the back. Like, and if you don't go here, he in the back.
Yeah. So I guess that God told me to do that because he needed to reset me.
Okay.
Reset my perspective, reset, what ministry is all about. Because the pitfall that leaders, pastors normally have, or that I see, is when we start to get that influence and that power sent to corrupt,
Yeah.
and we feel that we control God and God doesn't control us. So
Come on.
it was that
That's
pitfall.
good.
It was that pitfall that was like, hey God, if you're gonna use me, I want to be different, and I always want to stay in submission, right? Because at the end of the day, God is the one that has the final pen.
Right.
Yeah, God does the final approval. So we can only ask according to His will, and if it's His will, He will let it go on. But if it's not His will, sometimes He may allow you to, but eventually, there's always a repercussion at the
That's
end of
really good.
it. So I was like, hey, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to listen to what God wants me to do. I'm going to keep that relationship. I'll still pray, read my Bible, develop myself, grow. When I can support, I support.
Yeah.
But when the call came,
Yeah.
I knew. And prior to the call coming, there's let me see. There's certain ways that God works with me.
Yeah.
Because He knows my tendencies, and He knows there's some things that I'm going to say no to.
Okay.
Right? And there are two people in this church that God used as pointers for me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell the story if. So I was at Sam's Club. I was shopping, and I just bumped into Yvette. And she was like, she looked at me. She looked at me. She goes, Shola. I was like, hi, Yvette, how are you? And she was like, I need you. And she was like, hey, I want you to do this for me, campaign. Can you, do all that? Be part of the campaign and all that. Good. And she kept saying that, look, God can use you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so when she said that to me, and I was like, okay, God, what are you? But you told me to sit at the back, right? You told me to sit back. I was like, nah, yeah, it's okay. You can do that. So I was like, okay, Yvette, I'll do it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I responded to her. I was like, I joined that committee, helped with some of the stuff. So, but I still kept like, okay, it's just a committee. I'm just going to help. And once the committee is over,
you still stay in the back.
I'm going to stay in the back.
Still in the
right?
back, yeah.
I'm going to stay in the back. So there was a Sunday, I was praying at the back, and Sarah walked up to me and says, can I pray with you? I was like, okay, yeah, I love to pray. Yeah, let's pray. So we started praying, and she kept saying, oh God, I thank you for Shola's ministry, for how you're going to use him. And she kept praying about ministry. And in my mind, I was like, what are you saying? Lord, what are you saying?
Lord.
What are you saying? So when Sarah was done praying and we prayed together and she left, I was like, God, what are you saying now? And it was like, yeah, your time is up. Yeah, your time is up. So yeah. It's time. So when Pastor called me, I wasn't shocked. And I told him that, hey, I wasn't.
That's a trip. Man.
I wasn't shocked. I'd known, but God's timing is always the best. And as a matter of fact, the day that the pastor gave that altar call, and he gave altar call that, hey, there's some people here God wants to use.
Right.
And he was like, okay, come out. People went. I did not go out. I was actually still at the back. I stood. Yeah, I didn't go out. I was at the back. Yvette walked up to me and said, just pointed at me and like,
come on, Yvette.
And when she was like, go to the front. I was like, oh God. God was like, yeah, she's right. Go to the front. And
yeah.
I responded.
Because and that's the thing though, we can get so comfortable in the sitting, and it's really good though, it's wonderful when you can be adaptable, right? You can adapt to wherever God has placed you, because coming from where you came from and what that worship looks like and what that whole experience is, you could God can place you into something completely different, and to be able to adapt to that and then still say, okay, this is where you cut this. I would change this, that, and the other because it's where I came from. It's better, or whatever it was. Yeah. But that sitting time that you did, but one of the downfalls of sitting is that we can get so comfortable with it.
I guess I was getting comfortable.
Man, it feels good.
I guess I was getting comfortable, and God had to send some people to nudge me.
Yeah,
and nudge me like, hey, it's time. And when we go home that day, my wife was like, when Pastor gave the altar call, I thought of you, and I was like, Shola, you needed to be out. But when I didn't see her, I was like, this man didn't come out. Then eventually she was like, when she saw me, she was like, yeah, no. I was like, it was Yvette. God used Yvette to drive me out. so,
Yvette.
the
Love
point
you.
of for me is that sometimes people do stuff
Mm.
and we don't know that God is actually walking through people and putting things in place.
Right.
Preparing people, putting things in place, putting things, setting someone here, someone there, making this person say this to that person, that's that other person, and eventually everything is a master plan
Mm-hmm.
that God sees, and God in His time
Yeah.
will put things in position
Yeah.
for each individual. So it wasn't hard for me to say yes because I'd always known.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always sensed that frustration if I'm in church and I see things like, that shouldn't be right,
Yeah.
and that shouldn't be right, and God keeps you in that mode, but don't get too comfortable. When it calls you, then you need to respond.
Because you can.
Yeah.
Because you can. Oh, I can go on a whole tangent on that. Okay, hard question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you cook?
I can, but I really don't cook. I'll be honest. I used to cook because in college, we didn't have like a cafeteria, so you have to cook.
Right.
So I know how to cook. I promised my wife that when we're going to get married, I'll be cooking. But once we got married, yeah, I just cooked a little bit. But most times, because I'm always working,
You broke your promise.
I broke my promise.
Basically, that's what you.
But from time to time, I make chicken. I cook some of our local food. But I'll be honest, I don't cook every day. I don't cook.
So, what is your favorite dish to cook?
It's not a dish per se because it doesn't take anything. It's just frying. It's plantain.
Mm-hmm.
Plantain is my best food. I love plantain.
Oh, okay.
So, but the ways you can make it, you can boil it, you can roast it, you can fry it. I like it fried.
Yeah.
But it's not healthy. So now I try to air fry it, which is better.
That's healthier.
Which is healthier. Yeah. So the basic African staple rice. We cook rice a lot.
Yeah.
Stew. I try to support. I make chicken a lot for her if I need to when I'm available. Because like I said, I work 2 jobs.
Okay.
So
all right, you get a little pass.
Yeah,
then.
I'm out in the morning. I come back at night.
Taya, we're gonna try to get him to cook more because he promised you. Okay. So, what is your pet peeves?
Things that I love to do, right?
Nope.
Things I hate.
Yep. What just gets under your skin? I'm asking these questions because, guys, he's now part of leadership, and you might want to know, so you don't come at him like that. That's all I'm saying.
So, I'm a clean freak. I want things to be neat and in order.
Okay.
So when I see chaos, it kind of
okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I want things to be clean.
That's good for me to remember.
Yeah, I want things to be clean. In terms of conversation with people.
Yeah.
I give people a lot of grace. So obviously, I don't like being talked down at. I don't want to be talked down at me.
Okay.
Right. But I understand that, look, Bible says offense will always come.
Always.
So it will always come. So what I try to do is that if I don't like talking, I don't like being someone to talk down at me.
Mm-hmm.
So I try my best to the 100% of my ability not to talk down.
Not to do it to other people.
Not to talk down on people.
Right.
And even when the scenario happens and someone does talk down, the excuse I give to them is that they don't really know who I am.
Yeah.
So it's based on the assumption that they think that with this person I can just say this to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
So I just look at it, I give them that pass because they don't know. So just like she just said, Father, forgive them for they don't know what they're doing.
Man.
So I just like, hey.
You gotta apply that quite regularly, though. Like,
so
daily.
yeah. So apart from talking down on people, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it. It's hard to say that. How do you describe if someone is arrogant? I don't. There's just a look, right?
Can it be a look? It could be a look.
It could be a look,
it could be a look, or it could be an attitude.
Yeah,
a posture
I think that's the word.
yeah.
It kind of, when I sense that or I see that, it kind of turns me off,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I look at it from the perspective that, hey, you feel that you're more important than who God is.
Okay.
So it turns me off. Even sometimes when I'm watching and I sense, even if it's just a film and I sense it, it kind
Mm-hmm.
of turns me off.
Mm-hmm.
That, why is this person
Yeah, man.
feeling too, it's a pet peeve. So,
Who do you think you are?
so
Basically.
yeah, basically I don't have too much apart from those two things.
Okay. That's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
All right, what do you do for fun?
For fun, I love to watch movies.
Okay.
I watch a lot of
Do you
movies.
like to go to the theater or the show?
No, not the show. Not the show. Not the show. Um, I go to the movies maybe once in a while,
Okay.
but because of I like to control my atmosphere.
Okay.
I like to control it. So I'd rather buy the movie and watch it at home. I'm that kind of a person. So
So you're a homebody?
I'm a homebody, yeah.
Okay.
I'm a homebody.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a homebody. So
All right.
I love to watch movies a lot. I love sports. Um, I'm not a fan of football here because I'm a soccer person,
Which is football.
which is football.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
Got
here, when I go, oh, it's American football. It's like, oh no, it's not football because you're holding it 90% of the time, But the football is the one you kick with your foot, right?
I feel like
I'm sorry.
we said something like that on Coming to America too.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to start anything, right?
It's cool. It's cool.
So
We know that's the originator. We get
yeah,
it.
so,
We get it. Respect.
So, yeah, I'm a soccer person, so I like soccer. I follow soccer.
Mm-hmm.
American football, I still watch it from time to time.
Yeah. It's still good though.
It's still good,
It's
but
entertaining?
yeah, it's entertaining.
Okay.
But I really feel for them when they get bam.
Do you play soccer?
I played when I was younger,
Okay.
but I stopped playing. I stopped playing. I like and that's a contradiction of life.
Mm-hmm.
In NFL, when they hit each other, like, ooh. But I still like to watch MMA though. I'm sorry. I like to watch combat sport. I watch MMA.
But you got a problem with football. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a contradiction of life, right?
It is.
I'm sorry.
We're finding your flaws.
We're
okay.
we're complicated as human beings, right?
You're right. Oh man.
But I still like
man.
I like MMA. Basically because of the jiu-jitsu part of it. Because when I was growing up, Africans we wrestle.
Okay.
We call it gidigbo. We wrestle. We
You call it
gidigbo.
Gidigbo?
Gidigbo. It's wrestling.
Gidigbo.
Yeah, we wrestle.
Gidigbo.
As kids, we wrestle. We play around. And so maybe that kind of what drew me to MMA and the jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like, hey, how you play, you wrestle with people and all that. And when I was in high school, I used to wrestle.
Okay.
So
Got it.
I kind of, yeah, it kind of like, that's why I like to watch MMA.
Okay.
And not the football, but.
And not the football. You said the football. Okay. So Shola, if you had to tell people your heart, give people your heart, like if we wanted to know what Shola is about as a leader, as a man of God, husband, father, share for a moment people your heart so that they can get a better understanding.
It's for people to know God and have a relationship with God, and God being the center of everything they do, because life in itself is chaotic. Life in itself has a lot of things that it throws at us, and life in itself has an end to it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a time to be born and there's a time to die, right? At the end of our life, we want to be able to look back and say, hey, God, I've done everything you wanted me to do, right? I've walked according to your plan. So if there's anything that my heart bleeds for, is for people to know God and walk with God in all the phase of their life, right? In every phase of their life. when they're in college, when they're in school, when they're getting married, when they're dating divorce, when they're dying, when they're leaving, that they need to be involved or let God be in the center of everything, right?
Yeah.
And people say, oh, God doesn't talk to me or I don't hear God. I gave my life to Christ from 10, and from when I was 10 till now, I hear God talk to me. People say, oh, some people say, oh, you're crazy, but you say God talks to you. Yes, God talks because God is a spirit. He has a voice.
Yes, he
right?
does.
He has a voice through his word. He has a voice through his spirit.
Yeah.
Right? And how can we say that we have a relationship with the Father and he's not talking to us? It's not possible, right? If you have a father and there's a relationship with that father, he talks to you, right? So my heart is that people can hear God's voice and hear God's heart and know him personally, right? And hear him, right? Because only God knows the direction and the path of your life. And if you don't have a relationship with God to know and let him reveal to you the path of your life, we're just going to wander in darkness, do stuff we're not supposed to be doing, go where we're not supposed to be going, invest where we're not supposed to invest. But if we have that open line and communication, God will direct our path. So when I see people and I see them struggling and they're going through stuff, the first thing is like, so what is God saying to this person? Right? Is this person connecting with God and saying, hey, God, do you want me to do that? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to say yes? Do you want me to say no? Right? And that's what my heart beats for, that the church can hear God and walk with God. And when I say church, I'm talking about people, individuals, right? Being able to connect with God on that intimate level. And not just to be spiritual, not just to be weird or being a weirdo and all that kind of stuff, but just having a relationship with your Father and being able to listen to him and let him direct your path. Because the Bible says that the steps of the righteous are ordered.
Yes, they
If
are.
I look back over my life, I can see that God has ordered my step. Where, my friends, where I went to, even where I'm working, who surrounds me, it's God ordering my step. And it gives you peace. Because if you're in God's plan, regardless of what's going on, you're still in God's plan.
Yeah.
And God's plan says that I know the thoughts that I have for you. They're thoughts of good, not of evil, right? Yeah. So it's being in God's plan and walking in that plan. And that's what I'll say, if there's anything my heart longs for the church and for people, is that we can be in God's plan and walk with him.
Man, I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. One day we're going to have him talk about what happened after the journey of his yes, and even the levels of yeses that you possibly had throughout your life, and how you can see the hand of God. Well, you guys, Apostle Shola, again, he's always been here, but again, he said yes to this next level in his life. And so you're going to be seeing a lot more of him. We love you so much. We thank you guys for tuning in. If you come here and you happen to see him, are you a hugger?
Yeah, I'm a hugger, actually.
Give him a hug, shake his hand. He don't mind being touched. We want to respect those. Some people don't like to be touched, and it's all good. Come love on him, okay? Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.
Peace.